I think diversity is part of the life we live in, isn't it? I mean, we live in a diverse society. The world, as part of technology, has helped us to make the world be more connected. So we live in a much more global marketplace. Therefore, I think a more competitive marketplace, but also a more interesting marketplace. And diversity, therefore, is part of our everyday life. I mean, I've worked in different countries, so therefore maybe it becomes more natural to me as well. I mean, I'm very used to working diverse teams, people with different nationality, and being a woman, you sort of make up, in many cases, the diverse side of the room. You know, you tick the diversity box, which I've become much more aware of in the past couple of years, and not necessarily about me feeling the diverse, the woman in the room. But I've sort of noticed that where maybe 20 years ago I thought that by now we would maybe be more diverse, that there is still, if we look around, far less women than men. That's obviously one part of the diversity discussion. And I've realized that the position where I am as a CEO of a company, I have to make a real effort to be a real role model for young women. I think the recruitment is quite difficult because I think there are less working women than working men, at least at a certain level. Not when people come just out of university, but when you look for people with experience, and I think particularly for people with digital experience, my perception, and I think the reality as well, is that there are less women than men. Funny enough, I run a 60-40 senior management team with 60% of women and 40% men, and it's not because I wanted it to be that way, but you know, you recruit for experience, talent and fit. And I think if you talk about the challenges of recruiting a diverse team, it's also your own approach to what you want to recruit around you. I think when you're earlier in your career, you tend to look for people like you because that makes you feel comfortable. Personally, my experience is the more I recruit people around me who challenge me and therefore in many cases are different, have different opinions from my opinion, we end up with a much more successful team. Because I think through the debate and the discussion, you get to better solutions and in many cases a better product for your customers. Well, I can give you an idea of our everyday working life within the company I run today, but even the company I had before. I think in general, if we keep the customer always comes first. So that's one of my main mantras. It's funny how in many discussions you have in the business environment, still the word customer doesn't always come up, and it's got to come up all the time. And my view is if the customer comes first, the customer lives in a diverse society, so we have to listen to the customer and we have to understand the customer. And with a more diverse team, I believe that we get a much better understanding of the customer. And the customer is not always the person like me. There are still so many conversations in business life where I hear people talk about the customer and then they take their own experience, and that is not the customer. The customer is many more people. So when you are a business leader and you're not aware of the society in which we live, I don't think you serve your customer well. And having a diverse team helps you to listen to your customers much better and come up with a solution that's not just aimed at you as a customer, but a solution that's aimed at a wider range of people. And that should be so obvious, and it's not. That's the sad thing about it. I mean, just before we started the interview, I was sort of laughing, smiling at the topic that we're having to discuss today, because it is kind of sad that we're still having to discuss it. Because it should come so natural in a much more democratized environment in which we live. Through social media, people are much more democratized, they're able to express themselves much more easily. And therefore, we as business leaders should listen to those people. And they're not just people like us. Oh, absolutely. I think it's ridiculous to think that only young people understand tech. And I think young at heart is much more important. I've met in my career many young people who are very reluctant to change, very reluctant to take risks. I've met people who are older to be reluctant to change and taking risks. So I think it's not about age. It's more about the way you look at society and the way you look at a business opportunity.